We return to the United Nations. The representative of Mexico speaks at the plenary meeting on the need to end the U.S. blockade against Cuba.
Same chamber, the Mexican Foreign Minister Alicia Buenrostro called for an end to abhorrent and unjustifiable situations. We today reiterate this call and call for an end to the embargo against Cuba, since it runs counter to international law and is alien to the values which underpin peaceful coexistence between peoples in the Americas and the Caribbean. Mexico categorically condemns the economic, commercial and financial embargo imposed for over 6 decades against Cuba, as well as the decision to apply Title III of the Cuban Liberty and Democratic Solidarity Act, which has affected not only the sovereignty of the Cuban people but also the national interests of third countries. Given the severe economic situation caused by the effects of COVID-19, the high prices of oil and the consequences of natural disasters, it is vital to bring an end to this blockade. Only thus can we reverse the difficult economic and social situation faced by the Cuban people and take a decisive step towards consolidating a hemisphere which is more prosperous and competitive, but above all, more just and peaceful. In the same vein, Mexico, my country, deems the inclusion of Cuba on the list of state sponsors of terrorism by the United States State Department to have caused incalculable negative consequences for the Cuban economic and social development. Restrictions upon exports, the elimination of specific commercial benefits, encumbrances to humanitarian assistance, and obstacles in obtaining loans from international financial institutions are all unjustifiable and unjust measures which must be suspended. President, as said by the President of Mexico, Andrés Manuel.
We were listening right now to the statements of the representative of Mexico, who has joined the calls that the previous speakers addressing the plenary have made. She said that her nation, Mexico, categorically condemns the U.S. blockade, as well as the implementation of the Title III of the Helms-Burton Law, which harms above all the Cuban people and the society. Mexico also condemns the inclusion of Cuba in the list of nations that sponsor terrorism and described this as an absurd inclusion, as Cuba has been an example of cooperation. Let's now return to the UN to continue listening to the statements of the Mexican representative.
A country which Mexico will continue to work with, shoulder to shoulder, to overcome the common challenges through cooperation, dialogue and regional integration. Latin America and the Caribbean is a diverse region, but with a spirit of unity which must be strengthened and not weakened by unilateral policies. We therefore call upon the government of the United States to bring an end to the embargo immediately and to foster dialogue to resolve its differences with Cuba. The international community owes the Cuban people the opportunity to prosper in a climate of peace and cooperation. It is time to open a new chapter and to allow Cuba to fully participate in the global community without the restrictions that are imposed by this unjust and inhumane blockade. Thank you.